Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Adams, and as always, my co-host with me this week.
You are Mike Adams. Hey, what's up?
Just like to remind everybody, we are part of the Outdoor Radio Network, and we're also over at Skinny Moose Broadcasting. Go over there to their website and check out the podcast on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock if you'd like. And actually, that's going to change in June, Mike. They're going to go from a live streaming radio-type website to just hosting the podcast over there. But you've got another month anyway, another 4 weeks where you can pick up the show over there on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock anyway. So I'd like to remind everybody about that. And also I'd like to give a shout-out to another website that we're working with, myhuntingandfishing.com. We mentioned those guys last week, and our podcast is being posted over there also. And it's a pretty cool interactive site. There's some videos, there's some blogs and stuff over there. It's kind of like a camo space type hunting site. So go over and check that out. Those guys over there pretty interactive. So what's going on this week, man?
I don't know. It feels like it's been a long week, but I stayed out of school one day.
Yeah, you were out Monday.
Yeah.
You've kind of been laying low, but
cold.
Yeah, still shaking that cold from last week, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you were home Monday. Actually, this week we didn't do a whole lot outside. This weekend, anyway. Actually, Saturday, one of my other jobs, I'm a side business contractor, and we actually started our first job of the year this week. So I didn't get outside on Saturday like I always do. I can't remember the last time I stayed home on a Saturday, or didn't. I didn't stay home. I was out, actually, but I don't remember the last time that I was not out in the woods or on the water.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so. You didn't do anything either, did you?
No, I slept in.
Yeah, being lazy. All right, well, actually, we did do a little bit of stuff this week, and let's start off by hitting what happened Monday. You were home from school sick, and I think I was down here writing a blog for the day for my Hooks and Bullets website.
I was asleep.
You were sleeping, and all of a sudden, my wife, she come in running in, hey, the woodchuck is out on the stump again. There's a woodchuck out there, groundhog. So I raced over to the gun safe and proceeded to grab the .22 rifle, and I headed out to my little perch and got ready for the little sucker, and he wasn't there. So, I thought, man, do I wait around or what, and so I thought, well, I'll just wait, I'll wait for a couple minutes here to see if it comes back up on the stump or whatever, and I'm kind of scanning around with the scope around the stump, base of the stump, and around the edge of the field there just to see if it's, milling around in through the tall grass, and didn't see anything. And all of a sudden, boink, there comes his head up, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, buddy, here, meet your maker, and all of a sudden he started to move, and he jumped up on the stump, and I'm like, well, okay, you're going to provide a nice clean shot. So 70, 80 yards or so.
Yeah. Dropped
the crosshairs on him, over he went. You heard the shot.
Yeah, I heard the shot. I'm like, what was that?
Dad's up to something again. So I come busting back in, woke you up and said, okay, time to go out and get you a groundhog. I got one laying out back. So you went out, you got your clothes on. Well, tell everybody why you went out there to get it.
I went out there to get it, to actually skin it and starting to skin stuff like that. And actually I got a squirrel and a muskrat. I'm planning on mounting the squirrel and the muskrat. I don't know what I'm going to do with.
Yeah. I'd probably just skin the muskrat out for the fur on it.
Yeah.
That's one my dad's had stuck back for a while in the freezer for you, and the squirrel we've had stuck back in the freezer. So you've been waiting on some of your equipment to come in, but you didn't have any equipment when we got the groundhog.
Yeah.
So I know you want to talk about that a little more in game bag, so I won't spoil that for everybody. But what did you think when you went out there and grabbed it when you first saw it?
I've never really seen one up close and stuff like that. I mean, I know what they look like, but they're actually pretty big.
Yeah, that was pretty big one. It was a female,
like a big house cat.
Yeah. A little bit different, though, but yeah. So I know Mom was worried. She's like, well, what if he goes out there and thing's not dead? And I'm like, you know what? There's no question that thing is not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, when I hit it, that thing it launched him right off that stump. So there's no question about that. But what did you find when you went out there? You said you found a den or something.
Oh, yeah, there was two dens. There was like one 2 feet away from the post thing that was sticking up.
The stump?
And there was one right at the bottom of the post. I'm thinking that's the same den, just like an entry and exit hole.
Yeah, kind of close together, though. That kind of surprised me, but you never know. So, we haven't had any woodchuck problems in about 2 years. Well, 2 years ago, we had a real bad problem. And I probably took, I don't know, anywhere from 6 to 10 out that year. They just seemed to be everywhere, digging underneath the back garage, just tearing the yard up. So we seemed to get them thinned out. And last year, I think I only seen. I don't even know if I even shot one. I think I only seen one. And it was
I think
just.
that was that one out in the front yard, wasn't it?
No, this was out back, and it was just real brief. But I didn't even take one last year. That's the only one we saw, so haven't had too many problems with them. All of a sudden, the neighbor 2 doors down, he's having problems with them. And all of a sudden now we're starting to see them out back behind the house again and seeing where they've been. So I'm hoping that we don't have an infiltration of them again like we did 2 or 3, 4 years ago. Because there for a couple of 2 or 3 years, I mean, it was almost like daily work trying to keep them things thinned out. It just they were everywhere. So, but yeah, we got my first groundhog of the year, and hopefully it'll be the last one. I mean, I don't like having just to shoot varmints just to keep the yard clean, but if we have to, we do. With that being said, we got one, and that was our Monday. You know, being home from school, you got a little science class going, I guess.
Yeah.
So you didn't totally miss everything. With this week coming, the last couple of weeks, we've had turkey season here in Michigan has opened up. And our season, we actually took the late tag this year. Our season actually starts tomorrow, which is Monday morning, Monday the 12th. We're not going to get out early in the week. I might actually get out with a buddy of mine, Kevin. We may get out Wednesday if everything works out right, just for a morning hunt. But our first time in the woods, actually your first time, will be Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday morning. So we've got 3 weekends to get after that. And Kevin's already been out scouting a little bit, starting to see some good positive signs of birds in the area where we hunted last year. So we're quite optimistic that, some of us are going to get a bird. And I've actually got an email from one of our listeners about a bird he took, and I'll get to that later on in the show. But we're starting to hear from people that are getting some birds. And for those of you who listen to the show, whether you be in Michigan or out of state, if you've had a successful hunt, send us some pictures. Email us, tell us a story. We'd love to talk about them on the show and spread the word around and let other people know how everybody else around the country is doing. I know a cousin of mine down in Alabama, he shot one that they nicknamed Bubblegum because he puffed up so big, like he'd blown a big bubble when he gobbled. And they finally got old Bubblegum and took him. I guess he had 2 beards. He was a big bird. So he was talking about that this week, and I'm waiting to hear from you. If you're listening to me, cuz, send me some pictures. I'm anxiously awaiting to see what that old bird looked like. But, yeah, if you got a good story, email us. By all means, let us know how it's been in the woods. If you got something that's interesting that you've seen while you're out in the woods, maybe you weren't successful on your hunt, but you've seen something different, the way the birds may have been acting differently, or something that caught you by surprise, just shoot us an email and let us know. That way we can share it with other guys around the country here. So we got turkey season coming up. The one thing we got to do that we have not done yet, and we forgot to do this before we went to Ohio, is we need to take a look at all of our camo under black light. Remember we bought the UV treatment, the UV killer. We need to get that on our gear if it needs it. So that's something we're going to be working on this week. Maybe even later tonight we'll do. We need to scan all of our camo to make sure that there's nothing that's really popping out on that a UV light's going to really brighten and enhance and alert the birds to our presence. So that's something we got to do. So, but with turkey season coming up, that always brings about something else this time of year here in Michigan, which is on May 1st is always the first day that you can put in for your elk and bear applications for the state of Michigan. So we've got that coming. Actually, it's already been going on now for almost 2 weeks, and we still haven't got ours in yet. That's something we got to do. So, guys, if you're into the bear hunt and if you're into the elk hunt here in Michigan, by all means, get your permits put in so you can have a chance at the drawing for that. I did hear this year that Michigan is going to double the amount of elk tags that they're going to issue. So I think there's 330 tags that they're going to issue this year because the herd has gotten so big they want to cull it and keep it back down.
That'd be kind of cool to go out to Colorado and then come back and
have a tag for here. Yeah, that would be cool. It would that'd make my year by all means.
Yeah.
So, but we've got to get our stuff in for that. So, kind of looking forward to it and seeing what happens with that. So, guys, get your tags your permits put in for that. And now, moving along just a little bit here, I came across something pretty cool this week. And I don't know actually where I found. Actually, I do. I remember now. It was Michigan. It was MichiganOutdoorGuide.com, I believe, was the website I found this on. I was just looking for archery events in the area. This time of year, we tend to start thinking about archery season, getting ready. You need to start practicing, get your bows tuned, and get your muscles tuned more than anything. Muscle memory, getting back into the regime of shooting. And you can never do this too soon. I mean, not only that, it just gives you something to do on a day if it's raining, if you can shoot inside your basement or whatever, or if you got a local range. It's just a good way to get some exercise. But this website I was cruising around, I was looking for an archery event, to see if there's anything going on in the area, maybe a shoot. And I ran across one that was happening next Sunday, actually, coming up, that I was interested in. And come to find out, literally 3 or 4 blocks away from where I work, right around the corner, is an indoor archery range that has kind of just sprung up. And it's a Christian-based men's outreach group, but they've got a warehouse that they're renting, and they've got 3D archery indoors.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's open to the public Mondays from 6 to 8 o'clock. And you go in there, and it's free. They ask for a donation, but it's not required. You can go in there, and you can shoot for 2 hours. So it's pretty cool, and I'm going to start checking into that and possibly shooting on Mondays at this indoor range. So it sounds like a good time. So I'm going to check that out. And speaking of archery, something that we here at the Up North Journal have started trying to do that we're going to do this year, and we've already got some product in, is we're going to start field testing some of the broadheads that are on the market. And I've gotten product from Muzzy, and I've gotten product from G5. And they're gracious enough to supply us with some broadheads to field test this year. So
it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, you're already starting to dig it out there. But we got, from Muzzy, we got some MX3s and MX4s to field test. And from G5, we got the Montec.
And the Striker Magnum.
We got the Montec and the Montec pre-season. And we'll get more into this as the testing goes along, but the Montec and the pre-season Montec is what I really liked about these was the pre-seasons are the actual broadheads, but they're not sharpened. The blades aren't sharpened. So that way you can practice with them and not worry about ruining your broadheads, okay? And they're painted black so you don't confuse the two. But we're looking forward to testing these, and also G5 give us the Striker and the Striker Magnums to field test. So we've also talked with Grim Reaper this week, and they haven't said no, but we haven't confirmed with them yet. And once we're hoping to get those in also. And those are mechanical blades.
Yeah.
They have some mechanical blades, and I'm also working with about 3 or 4 other companies that I've yet to hear from. So if we get a good sampling of these, we're gonna put these out on the range. We're gonna put them in the woods and try and test them this year for you. So this is just another way that we can help you guys out in the field. We're looking forward to putting these to the test. Like I said, we're going to put them on a range, and eventually, once we go from the range, we're going to take them into the field, and hopefully we can arrow some animals this year and really get a good glimpse at what these things do. So we're coming up with about 3, 4, 5 different ways to field test these. We're actually going to try to get a chronograph and do some speed tests on them. And we're just going to go through the whole gamut. Kevin Hutchings, my buddy, who's part of the Up North Journal team here, he's looking forward to helping us with this. And I've got a couple other guys that we're working with also. So we're going to try them with different bows. We're going to try them with some different setups. And then we're going to put them, like I said, get on the range, and we're going to see what bow works better with which arrow for that person, and just go through the whole scheme of possibilities.
Didn't you say we were looking at trying to talk to some people with bows?
Well, I've gotten a lot of emails here in the last 2 to 3 weeks, people asking about youth bows and youth models. What do you think's the best youth model bow out there? What would you recommend? Because they know I started you on a youth model, and I currently have 2 other kids, my oldest daughter, my youngest boy, who are shooting. So with that being said, people are starting to ask questions about that. So we're going to try, we don't know yet, but we're going to try to get some of the companies out there to either loan us a bow to use or field test one, whichever way we can work something out, because, like I say, a lot of people are starting to inquire about this. Matter of fact, I got an email we talked about, I think last week or week before last, from the guy out in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah, that was last week.
So we've gotten a couple more besides his. So, we're just trying to help the guys out there. So we've got that to look forward to. But anyway, I'm hoping we've got these we've got these fixed blades that we've got in, and now I'm looking for some mechanical blades to try and test, because I've not been one that's been real big on mechanical, but, hey, I'm willing to give them a shot and see what they do. So, got some exciting stuff coming up. It's going to be a busy summer, I can already see. Not to mention trying to get a little bit of fishing in while we're at it. So, but, I don't know, what do you think about this? I mean, you've seen the stuff coming in this week.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool how they send all this stuff to us. I mean, I really didn't think companies would send stuff out, like so much stuff to field test.
Well, they realize
they would just send like one or two.
Well, they sent us a good sampling of their products, and they've checked out our website, and they've seen that we get a lot of action on the websites, a lot of traffic, and people are asking questions. So, what better way to get your product out there than get it in the hands of somebody who's going to use it and spread the good word? So, we're looking to find out what works best and what just simply works. I mean, they all work. Every broadhead's going to perform. It's just which one's going to perform best under what conditions, and that's what we're looking for. So, and also, I almost forgot to mention that along with the MX3s and MX4s that Muzzy sent along, they also sent the Zero FX Next Generation Arrow Rest, which is kind of like a drop-away rest, and we're going to put those on my bow and on Kevin's bow.
Actually, the rest has like that little hook on it.
Yeah.
That's like the same one I have for my bow fishing thing. Although mine doesn't drop away.
Yeah, this is a kind of it's totally different. It's a new system, a complete new system of the way they designed this. So we're actually looking forward to using that and seeing how everything shoots with that. So we've got that to test also. So even though it's not archery season yet, folks, it's a good time to get out there. Like I said, start practicing, getting ready, because it won't be long, and archery season is going to be here. So it's a good time to get out there and start practicing. So we've got a lot of stuff to bring you, hopefully, throughout the summer on that. Well, with all that being said, Michael, I think it's time we take a quick break and come back, and we'll get into the Outdoor News of the Week. What do you think?
That sounds good.
All right, folks, hang on. We'll be right back after this quick message.
If you're looking for the best in outdoor hunting and fishing podcasts, look no further than the Outdoor Radio Network. Each week we have dozens of podcasts devoted to outdoor sports, with shows like On the Water with Bob Murray, Bass Champ Journal, Surf and Shore Fishing, just to name a few. Check out all outdoor podcasts on the OutdoorRadioNetwork.com.
Welcome back, everybody, and now a little bit of Outdoor News of the Week. First article here is coming out of California, and this is actually off of FoxNews.com's website. It's happened out in Lake Arrowhead, California, and it's about a 2-year-old baby that was dragged from their yard by a coyote.
At least it's not a gun law.
No, it's not a gun law, but they also report this is the third such attack in 5 days. It basically says a coyote grabbed a 2-year-old girl by the head and dragged her out of the front yard of her mountain home, and it was the third such incident in 5 days involving a small child in Southern California, involving kids and coyotes. The coyote attacked a girl around noon on Tuesday when her mom went inside the house for a moment to put a camera away. When her mother came back out and saw the coyote had dragged her daughter towards the street, she ran towards her daughter, and the animal released the girl and ran away. The mom took her daughter to the hospital, where the toddler was treated for several punctures to the head and of the neck, and a laceration to her mouth. She was then flown to a Loma Linda University hospital for further treatment, although the injuries were not life-threatening. State Fish and Game officials and county animal control authorities are setting traps for the coyote, and we're monitoring the neighborhood in the high San Bernardino Mountains, which is about 65 miles northeast of Los Angeles. On Friday, a nanny pulled a 2-year-old girl from the jaws of a coyote at the Altera Park in Chino Hills, which is also San Bernardino County, which is about 30 miles east of Los Angeles. The girl suffered puncture wounds to her buttocks and was treated at a hospital. And a coyote came after another toddler in the same park on Sunday. The child's father kicked and chased the coyote away. Altera Park is near Chino Hills State Park. a natural open space in thousands of acres spanning nearly 31 miles. Once again, we've got coyotes causing problems, but the antis would have us believe that we don't need to take care of them. So not only are they running rampant around our area, but now it seems like they're out, well, we hear them running rampant everywhere, pretty much. Now they're starting to interact with humans, small humans, toddlers, so to speak. I know here specifically in our areas, there's been occasions where people have reported their cats or their small dogs or cats have been missing. They let their pet out, and all of a sudden the pet doesn't come back, and they find where the animal's either been killed or they find coyote tracks near the area. So it's just another instance of the wildlife starting to mingle in with the humans and getting human contact. So it's just something we need to keep a watch out, and that's just another reason why we need to have make sure that trapping stays legalized here in the United States. The antis are always after certain areas of hunting and fishing and trapping that they're trying to take away, and trapping is a big issue here in Michigan, and they've come after us many times here about that, and that's just something we need to be diligent about in making sure that we keep up on our guard on that and that they don't come and take it away from us. Okay, now let's move on to a different piece of news here. This one is actually here locally, and it's about the DNR closing a gun range on holidays. And actually, this gun range is probably only about 20 or 30 miles from our house here, Michael. But it's down in Green Oak Township, which is in Livingston County. Actually, not far from where we deer and turkey hunt. Residents living near the Island Lake State Rec Area gun range may soon be subject to a slightly less noise from the range. One of our state senators announced Wednesday that the Department of Natural Resources has agreed to close the gun range on holidays throughout the year and limit shooting hours on Monday and Tuesdays during certain months. The DNR has also agreed to conduct a comprehensive sound study at the range this summer and submit the results to the public by September. If needed, measures to reduce noise from the range will be pursued. The DNR's commitment is a good faith effort on the part of the DNR to the area residents. Livingston County Circuit Court Judge Stanley J. Luttrell last year dismissed the noise and other claims made by the residents against the range. A local resident, Janice Weingart, an intervening plaintiff in the former lawsuit, said the DNR's actions mean little. She said that most of the agreements were already in place. It's no compromise, and there isn't a day off for us, she added. What gets me about this is I wrote a blog about this here recently. We had a problem here locally with another gun range with stray ammunition coming off the range, and a buddy out in Connecticut has the same problem happening at a gun range that he uses. And what it boils down to, and just like in this case, these gun ranges have been long established for long periods of time here in these areas. And what happens is the land around it gets developed, and people move in, and then they want to complain about it. You know the gun range is there, and then you want to move in, and then you want to complain because the gun range is there. That just doesn't make any sense, These people, same thing here, they're complaining about the noise, okay? When you moved in, did you not know there was a gun range there? Did you not investigate what was in the surrounding area? That's part of buying a home. That's what you need to do before you just willy-nilly move into an area. Don't move in and then complain later on because you're upset about something that has been there before you were. I would dare say most of the people in this suit against the one here in Michigan who are doing the complaining moved in way before that gun range was even there. So it's just, I get sick and tired of people blaming others for their stupidity. You've heard me say that line many times. Don't go in and complain because you didn't check your facts. Don't go in and blame somebody else because you didn't take the time to research and find out what was in your area. It just blows my mind, and I get sick and tired of reading stories like this all the time. And now the DNR is caving in. They're going to close it on holidays, and they're going to close it at certain times on Mondays and Tuesdays. Holidays is when families get together, and the families, if it's a family like ours who likes to go out and maybe shoot their guns at a local gun range like we did last 4th of July, celebrating our Second Amendment rights on the birth of our great nation, that's our choice. Why should we be told we can't do that because it's a holiday? That's stupid. That's just stupid. I don't get it. So it's just DNR's caving in. Flat out, that's what it is. They caved into these people. And, the judge already dismissed it once. They got a judge's ruling in this case, so why do they feel like they need to cave into these people? So, anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I'm starting to get a little on my rant here. So, now moving along, last piece of news we got this week. And this one I feel is pretty important. It also involves Second Amendment rights. Here lately, the Department of the Interior and the National Park Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services and National Wildlife Refuges are taking up the notion of allowing concealed carry permit holders to use or to carry their firearms with them on national park lands and national wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, right now it's illegal, and up until June 30th, the public has the right to comment on this issue before they make their final ruling. And on my blog site, I wrote, tomorrow morning there'll be a blog on this on my Hooks and Bullets website. And on there's a link to where you can write a comment and let your voice be heard. Because I guarantee you, all the anti-gunners have made their voices be heard. And we need to take the time, write a short little comment of why you feel it's important to allow CCW permit holders to legally carry their firearms and protect themselves on these lands. There's 48 states right now in the United States, 48 out of 50, who allow CCW permit holders to carry in their state. As long as they follow the laws and they go by their rules, there's no reason why these law-abiding citizens shouldn't be allowed to continue to carry their firearm with them if they're on these lands and protect themselves from either dangerous wildlife that they might encounter along the way, or if there's a criminal action that's put against them. They need to be able to protect themselves. So take the time out of your day this week and write a short little letter and email it. I mean, it's real simple. It took me literally 5 minutes to do this. So it's something that we need to do. Let's bring these laws on these federal lands in check with what the state's laws are. What they're proposing to do is to have the permit holders follow the same set of rules as their home state. So let's say the National Shiawassee Wildlife Refuge here in Michigan. Right now you can't carry a CCW. You can't carry a concealed weapon onto that land. If this law were passed, we would follow the same set of Michigan rules for the Shiawassee National Wildlife Refuge. There's a couple other places here in Michigan that have lands that are closed off right now to concealed carry permit holders. So if we went to another state, we'd have to follow that state's rules on the national land. So that way there wouldn't be any confusion. That's the problem now is, okay, is this National Forest Service land, which you can carry on? Is this BLM land, which you can carry on? Or is this a national park, which you can't? Or is this a wildlife sanctuary, which you can't? You got to try to put all this stuff together, figure out who's governing the land, figure out what set of rules you need to go by. They just need to make them all straight across the board for each state. Follow the state rules and you're good to go. That's the way it should be. And that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to update the law and bring it into contemporary times here and make it match what each state has. So, have I confused you? I probably have. But if you just go to my blog site and read about it there, it'll explain it all in a lot clearer form. And there's also a link there where you can make your comment be heard. So go over and check that out. Well, listen, we're going to take our last break of the show here. We'll be right back with Mikey's Game Bag. He's got some stuff this week, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll be right back after this.
If you're looking for the best in outdoor hunting and fishing podcasts, look no further than the Outdoor Radio Network. Each week we have dozens of podcasts devoted to outdoor sports, with shows like On the Water with Bob Murray, Bass Champ Journal, Surf and Shore Fishing, just to name a few. Check out all outdoor podcasts on the OutdoorRadioNetwork.com.
Welcome back, and now the best part of the show, Mikey's Game Bag. Well, this week on Mikey's Game Bag, I'm going to be talking about how you were talking about how I skinned out the groundhog.
Yep.
I'm going to be talking about that, and then I'm going to be talking about some of my plans I have to do with a squirrel that I have. And actually, I'm going to talk about the muskrat that I picked up today.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, as we stated earlier, we took a groundhog here Monday, and I had you get up and go out and get it. So,
yeah.
Let everybody.
Then, I took it out to the front yard, and you did pictures and everything since it was on your blog, if you've seen it. And after that, it goes, okay, you can scan it out now. I'm like, okay. So I just got to it, and then you stand there and videotape, I think, a little bit of it.
Yeah, we're going to try to put together a little video demonstration of how you did that.
And then,
but you didn't have your equipment yet.
No, I didn't have my equipment, so I had to use a fillet knife.
You used a fillet knife to skin out a groundhog. How did that work out?
It was pretty hard. Yeah.
What was the worst part of it?
Probably the legs.
Yeah.
Like going down, like how skinny they were.
Yeah.
Trying to go around and skin out the hide and stuff like that.
What I noticed is how quickly the knife became dull.
Yeah.
So we got out the crock sticks and worked the knife up, every few minutes.
Like you said, it's a fillet knife. It really wasn't made for
skinning
animals. It's made for fish.
Right.
Fish are a lot softer.
Right. But you know what? The crock sticks kept that knife razor sharp. You'd cut a little bit, and then you go over and we hit it on the crock sticks real quick. Man, that thing all of a sudden, man, it was just razor sharp real quick. That's what I like about those things, is they're so easy to use. And you can get a great edge on a knife. Yeah, we got it. Or actually, I helped you with it. I skinned a little bit, and you skinned most of it out. And
then I had put it on the post. Not the one that we shot it off of.
No, the fence post.
Yeah, the fence post. And I flushed it out. I took all the fat and stuff that I missed, and I used a soup spoon to get some of the stuff that I couldn't get my knife up under.
Yeah.
And I got that all done.
Just kind of use it to scrape it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, for the video that I ordered for my squirrel, the instructional video, the guy used a butter knife, and now I understand why it has like little teeth on it.
Okay, enough just to kind of scrape it off, serrated edge it a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we took it and we stretched it out, put it on the piece of plywood, tacked it down with some staples, and then just put borax on it.
Yep.
It's been drying for almost
a week.
Yeah, about a week.
Yeah, tomorrow will be a week tomorrow, yep.
Yeah, it's pretty dry when we went out there today.
Yeah, the taxidermist we work with here, he said let it set for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to start, moving it and roughing it up and try to break that stiffness out of it. We're going to have to work it out a little bit, probably.
I didn't know you have to do that.
Well, he puts them in a tumbler.
Yeah.
With he's got his own little homemade tumbler he uses, and he puts wood chips in there, or sawdust in there. And he tumbles that around. He'll let it run for a couple, 2 or 3 hours, and then he all of a sudden you take it out, man, thing's all pliable and soft, and it's like a regular hide at that point. You just got to fluff it up, blow dry it with a hair dryer, and fluff it up and clean it off a little bit, and it's good to go. So, what's your plans with doing with this one?
I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it soft or not. I mean, I wanted to make it so I could just hang it on the wall.
Hang it on the wall. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe with the muskrat, I'll put it in the tumbler.
Yeah, those wind up becoming real soft. I know muskrat fur is it's widely sought after by a lot of guys who trap. They'll sell it to these fur houses or fur buyers, and it's real soft and real warm. I mean, you think of an animal that basically swims under the ice during the winter, and burrows wherever they burrow there along the shorelines and stuff like that. That when they're in them icy cold waters, that fur's got to keep them warm. So it's really, really good fur. So you wound up with a muskrat too, huh?
Yeah, I wound up with him. I got him today.
Yeah.
From Papa.
Yeah, he had that thing stuck back in the freezer. So you get some more practice skinning here real soon.
Yeah, and then I get to deal with that squirrel. Did we order the mannequin today?
No, we haven't ordered it yet. We've got the measurements on it. Why don't you tell everybody basically how you measured that thing out?
How you measured it? You measure it from the tip of the nose. Mm-hmm. And I measured it to the base of the tail, right where it starts, right at the butthole. Mm-hmm. And then you measure around the biggest part of its stomach. Okay. So you take a length measurement, and then you take a circumference measurement around the body. And we're having a little bit of trouble trying to size it up to what we've got in the book for the foam body mannequins. He's a huge squirrel, though. Yeah, he's big. He's a big squirrel. So we're just going to have to try to come up with something close and work with it that way. But no, we haven't ordered that one yet. But actually, I can probably get it a little bit bigger, and since its stomach's gonna be on the wall, looking like it's running up and looking back at you, then I can, if we get a little bit bigger one, then I can just sew it up on the stomach, and you'd never even notice.
Well, that, and you can take and you can shave it too. You can shave the mannequin a little bit to get it to fit a lot more uniform if there's a place where it's real tight. From what the taxidermist had told us, it's better to buy one just a little bit big than one too small. That way you can shave the mannequin somewhat and form fit it to the hide. So I guess that's probably the direction we're going to wind up going with it. So you got some supplies though this week though.
Yeah, actually I got a little late for the
a little late for the groundhog, yeah.
But I ordered a scalpel, like I think it's 10 scalpel blades and a handle. Yeah,
well it's a knife handle or a scalpel handle, and you've got the replacement blades, so you got 10 blades for it.
And then I got the video.
Yep, got a video for it so you can check out how to do all that. And that's something you're going to try to take up this summer or next fall, is try to start doing some taxidermy work, huh?
Yeah, it'll be in Groundhog Patrol.
Groundhog Patrol. And everything else patrol, too, I imagine. Well, is that it for Game Bag this week?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, a little bit of taxidermy work.
Yeah. I'm doing everything, fly tying, taxidermy.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, you were out of school Monday, but you got a little bit of science class in. You got to skin a groundhog and figure out what that was all about and all the good stuff inside. All right. Well, wrapping up here towards the end of the show, I want to go over a couple of emails that we got this week. Actually, Michael, I'm going to need your input here on a couple of them because one of them was addressed to me and you both.
That's fine with me.
So we're going to get your expert opinion here if I can get them called up.
I'm not too sure about expert opinion.
No, I don't know. We'll see what you think about it.
Just depends on what the questions are.
Okay, well, before we get into the one that I wanted to ask you about, Michael, I've got one here that I received this week from a listener over towards Kalamazoo. We'd mentioned him before, 9 Millie.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, the guy who does some steelhead fishing out that way. And he sent me this article this week about a guy here in Michigan that went, I don't know what type of hunting he was doing, but he was out hunting anyway. And he was up in northern Michigan where they pick and sell morels. You know, like when we were up near the 40 acres a couple weeks ago, the guys were on the roadside selling morel mushrooms. Well, this gentleman that sent him the message or whatever, wherever he found it at, basically did the same thing. He saw they were selling some, he pulled over to check them out, and I guess the guy was quite proficient at knowing what mushrooms were which. And to come to find out, the ones the guy on the roadside were selling could be poisonous to some people.
Yeah. And
he proceeded to tell them that they were poisonous mushrooms, and they kind of, bickered back and forth a little bit. But what it boils down to is, guys, especially here in Michigan, I don't know about other states, I don't know where morels really grow all over the United States, but I know here in Michigan, they're pretty prevalent. But the thing is, if you're buying stuff like that from a roadside stand, make doggone sure you either trust the guy who's selling them to you, or make doggone sure you know what you're buying. Because with mushrooms, all it takes is one, man, and if you get the wrong thing, it can kill you. So it's just a little word of caution here when you guys are out there. Not only that, if you're picking mushrooms, make sure you know what you're picking. Just don't take it for granted that I think this might be such and such, or this one, I think this one is this type. You got to know with that kind of stuff. You can really get into some big trouble if you don't know which ones you're picking. So now, I asked earlier in the show for people to send me pictures or email of a story about turkey hunting. Well, one of the listeners of our show, who I've been talking with for quite a while now, got to get out this week with his son for the first time ever. He's never taken a wild turkey. He's never shot one before. And he took his 9-year-old boy out with him for his first hunt. Okay, he wanted to get his boy some experience out in the field and what it's like to be out in the woods hunting and all that. And they were sitting in a pop-up blind. Well, he bagged his first bird, and not only that, his 9-year-old kid was there to watch it with him, which I can't commend him enough for it. It's just a great story. But basically, I want to read you here quickly what he wrote. He says, well, I finally have had success in getting a turkey, and here's the story. He said him and his son headed out of the woods this morning, but got out there a little later than what they'd wanted to. He got set up about 7 o'clock out in the woods, and set up in a pop-up blind, got the decoys put out, and he made some calls on his box call, and immediately got 3 different times to answer back. But they were a long ways off. After about a half hour, he said they shut up completely. Then about 8:30, they had 2 hens come out and walk down the path in front of them where they were hunting. Once they went out of sight, he gave a call on his box call, and then bam, immediately a tom answered back. And he said the tom was right on top of them. Then after about 10 minutes, he said he could see him off in the brush at about 65 yards. And he stayed there walking around and strutting for about 45 minutes to an hour. The whole time, his boy couldn't see the tom from where he was sitting. And he really wanted his boy to see it, but he kept hoping that the bird would come closer because he didn't want his boy to move and spook the bird. Then he said the bird started coming towards us, and he said he told his son to sit real still because he was coming in. Then his boy got to see him strutting right in front of them, but he still didn't have a clean shot. He told his boy that when the tom pops his head out into the clearing of the path where they were at, that he was going to shoot. And sure enough, he popped his head out and shot. He says, I dropped him right in his tracks. Then, when his boy and him got up to go out and look at the bird, another tom that he didn't even know was there flew up into a tree directly in front of them, and there was also 3 deer standing there looking at him. At first, his boy said he was sad to see the bird die, but his dad told him that it was okay and it was good because he wanted him to have respect for the animals, and he didn't want him to hunt just for the joy of killing something. He even made a little cross where the bird died and put it out into the woods. He said he wanted the bird to die with dignity. The hunt was picture perfect, and the bird came out in the clearing right where he wanted him to, which usually never happens, he says. The best part was that he got to share his first bird with his son, and he included some pictures for us, and we'll put that up on the blog post. But you know, what's great, there's a lot of great things about this story. First of all, here's Dad, gets his first bird, but he also had his son with him that he took out in the woods for the first time. Secondly, it was his son, had a little bit of remorse there for the bird, felt a little bit sad and put a cross out because he wanted him to die with dignity. You know what? That is so key because I think a lot of people, I won't say a lot, there's some people out there who just go out and they just love to shoot the woods up, just wham, bam, 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 just shoot everything they can see. Hunting is not about killing. Hunting is about spending the time in the field with your family like he did. It's about learning about the habitat and about the animals and having respect for them. You know what? And this guy is teaching his kid right off the bat, It's good to see that there is some remorse. It shouldn't be about the joy of killing animals. It's, you're taking and harvesting that bird for the meat, and you're going to eat it later, okay? There's a reason we do this. It's keeping the animals and nature in balance. Making sure there's a checks and balance in maintaining herds or flocks or whatever type of animal we're hunting, keeping everything in balance so there's not overpopulation, so there's not disease and things of this nature. So, Tim, my hat's off to you, bud. You're doing it right. You're starting them off right, man. And I couldn't think of a better way to spend a day than with your kids in the woods. And not only that, you're fortunate enough to be able to take a bird the first time out with your boy. That's just great. So that's what I mean, talking about stories like that. Guys, send me some pictures, send me some emails. And the picture he did send me, by the way, this bird was 22 pounds, and it had an 8.5-inch long beard. And the bird in the picture was almost as big as his boy, it looked like. The bird was big. So it looks like they had a great time out there. And like I said, I'll be writing more about this on my Hooks and Bullets website this week and posting the pictures there for Tim to share with everybody else.
This story kind of reminds me of the first time you actually got your first duck.
How's that?
Like how I was there with you and you got to see you get your first duck.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped about it. I had more fun hanging out with you, though, than I did shooting that duck. But, yeah, I had fun shooting the duck, too. But, yeah, that's what it's all about, man, just hanging out, having a good time and being with your friends and family. Actually, now, this next letter, Michael, I don't even think I've even read this one to you. But this comes from a guy out in Ontario, Canada. And for whatever reason, I have gotten more response and hits on a story I wrote back about 2 months ago on the cougar track up in Delta County here in Michigan that the DNR finally said, hey, we got cougars here. I've gotten more response off of that one article than I have anything else. And that's what this one's about. This gentleman up in Bothwell, Ontario, Canada. I don't even know where that's at. I know where Ontario is, but he kind of tells it's a little ways from Windsor or the Detroit area here in Michigan. He had a sighting of a cougar in his backyard last night. And this comes from Keith Kreitzer. And he goes on to say, I live in Bothwell, Ontario, Canada, which is about an hour north of Windsor, or a little more than an hour's drive north of Detroit, Michigan. The last few winters there have been cougar tracks outside the back door of his house there. or right by the garbage can, probably because they throw out chicken, beef, and pork scraps outside for the animals, and they probably track the smell back to the house because there's usually some scraps in the garbage can outside the back door. He says, we live in front of a huge bush which is populated by a large number of deer, which he said he read that the mountain lion or cougars, that's their main food source. There have been a few sightings in the area. For instance, a couple of kids just down the road, about a mile away from where they live, were riding their bikes and seen a black-colored mountain lion or cougar, and a few others have sighted cougars, both black-colored and brown, have seen tracks as well, up until yesterday. He said, I had just heard about the sightings and them cougars being in the area, and had only seen the mountain lion's paw prints in the snow during the winter outside the back door here in the last few years. Although last night, he said he went to open the back door to the garage, which is part of their house, to have a smoke, and he said he only opened the door about 5 inches when he heard this really loud hissing noise, that the sound like a cat makes when it's scared because it's cornered or by a dog or something. He said, I must have scared it when I opened the door. My first thought was a raccoon must be out there because we had raccoons tipping over our garbage before. Anyways, I shut the door right away and grabbed a stick and went out the other back door out on the side of the house to see. Lo and behold, I seen a mountain lion, or a cougar. It was light brown color with black and dark brown markings. It had a long tail and was around 5 to 6 feet long, including its tail, and stood around 2.5 feet tall. It stood there for about 3 or 4 seconds until I moved, then it took off running down through a big ditch and off into the big bush behind the house. And this is around 7 o'clock last night. I ran back in the house and told everyone what had just happened, and my grandfather went outside to see, but of course it was long gone. He said, well, that's my experience with my first mountain lion, or cougar, sighting, and I would really like to be able to see one again, hopefully for a little longer next time. They are a really beautiful animal, but they're scary also, and wouldn't want to get any closer than I did. I would have hated to see what would have happened if I had just continued opening the back garage door and walked all the way out while it was hissing, and it probably would have scared the crap out of me, and I'm sure it would have opened that door all the way. It probably would have been attacked I would have been attacked because I know I startled it. So, pretty cool. This guy's going outside for a smoke, and all of a sudden he hears a cat hissing at him, and he goes out another door, and there it is, and it's a mountain lion or cougar, whichever way you prefer to call them. So, I don't know what I would do, you know. I think I'd probably grab more than a stick. But I'd have to say that's got to rank up there with probably one of the coolest things that I would have ever seen if that had been me, you know. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's pretty cool. You got to see it, like you said. I don't think I would have grabbed a stick. Well,
I think he grabbed, from what way he wrote it there, he grabbed the stick not knowing what he thought was a raccoon.
Yeah.
And then he went out the other door, and there it was. So, yeah, it would get your attention pretty doggone quick, I think. But, Keith, I'd like to say thanks for sending the email, first of all. And, man, that's just got to be cool to see something like that. You know, they say we've got them here in Michigan. I've heard stories about them, and one of the guys we hunt with, you know, has seen sign of them up where we hunt. So I'm not going to dismiss it at all. You know, if they're here, they're here. And whether anybody wants to believe it or not, that doesn't change things. So now moving along to our last email here. This one came from Nathan. We've talked about Nate here the last couple of weeks on the show, but he's been writing back and forth and asking a lot of good questions about hunting, and he's, you know, wanting to get involved in hunting of different game animals and things like that. So he's been talking to us back and forth a little bit. And actually, Michael, he wanted me to pass this along to you a little bit, get your take on it. I already wrote him back and give him my take. But you haven't been on the computer a little bit this week. You've had some school issues you've had to work out. So better. Yeah, well, I hope so. So Nate, that's the reason he hasn't wrote you back. But you know what? I'm going to give you the opportunity to answer some of these questions tonight. And that way you can answer his questions, and if anybody else is interested in this too, you may be able to help them out. But here's what he wrote. He said, "What type?" He's been talking to us. First of all, let me back up. He's been talking to us about deer hunting. He shot his first deer last year out in Iowa. They shotgun hunt, and he's asked us about how we hunt deer here in Michigan. And he's kind of wants to get into bow hunting. He's been asking us about bows and things of that nature, and we talked about that last week. But on the deer hunting subject, he asked, what kinds of shotguns do you have? He says, I have a Remington 870 Wingmaster 20 gauge. He said, but he'd like to get an 870 Express with an improved cylinder barrel with rifle sights for deer. He says, I'd get a rifle shotgun barrel, but sabots are way too expensive for him. He said if he got a 12 gauge, he'd get one with a vented barrel with chokes that he could use later on for birds. He says he also just bought a Ruger 1022, and he says, I know Mike Jr. has one. What do you think of them? So, Michael, there you go. There's your question, so feel free to answer.
Ruger 1022s, I'd say, have to be my favorite gun all time. No matter what, no one can change my opinion. I don't care what they say, it's the best.
And why is that?
Obviously because it has a 10-round clip.
Yeah, because you can get a lot of shots off.
Yeah. But there's a way I cheat it, and if you can probably cheat it too. You fill up your magazine with 10, and then you put one in the chamber. Yeah,
so you get 11. Yeah. Now, out on the range, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to do on the rifle range. But you can't do that when you're out in the woods. You know, you have a magazine capacity, or a round capacity, actually, for the gun here in Michigan, and you have to abide by that. So when it comes to hunting out in the woods, small game hunting, we do not do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, on the range, you can get away with that, though.
Yeah.
Okay. But what beyond being able to get 11 shots or 10 shots off, real quickly, what is it about the gun that appeals to you?
There's so much you can change about it. Like, you can buy different stocks for it. Like, if you went and Googled 1022 stocks, you could find a million different things.
Oh, kind of like what I've already done.
Yeah.
Because, seriously, what I'm thinking about doing, I don't mean to get off subject here, but I'm wanting to buy one. I mean, you're like, what do you want to buy a 22 rifle for? You know, because back when I was in college, we shot competition bolt-action 22s, first of all. They were Anschutz. They were match rifles. And you can now buy a match stock Anschutz stock. Let me rephrase it. You can buy an Anschutz match target rifle stock for a Ruger 1022.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you what, that thing looks so awesome. You know, it's a cool, it's not an evil black gun. Let's get away from that right away. It's just the way the stock is made for it. It just reminds me so much of what I used back in college. And there's so, like you said, there's so many things you can put on it. But the way that thing is set up, it looks a lot like the rifle I used back in college on the Eastern Michigan University rifle team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the stocks is just one thing.
Yeah, you can put, like, holographic sights on it like I have.
Mm-hmm.
You can, actually, there's some things I've heard of people modifying them to where they can shoot Mach 17s.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You can modify them.
Yeah, there's some kind of bore insert or something.
Yeah.
Something they do to the barrel.
You have to get a bull barrel, and you have to get a conversion kit for it.
Conversion kit, yep, bull barrel conversion kit.
And you can get banana clips, 30-round clips, and stuff like that.
For the rifle range only.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's no reason you need to be in the woods with 30 rounds of ammunition to shoot a squirrel. Now, come on.
Well, I missed that one time.
Well, you missed, but that's just because you're bad aim.
Yeah.
That's not the gun's fault.
Well, actually, it was because the sight was pushed down.
No, it wasn't the gun's fault. It was your fault for not checking. Cause it had the flip-down sights. You were using the iron sights at the time, and you bumped it against a limb or something, and it actually pushed the rear sight down because it's got a flip-up sight.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
No, you got the other sight put on. So, well, what else about it do you like?
Just that semi-automatic, and if you need to, like I did that one day, you can get off shots fast.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to worry about. One thing that I've had problems with is sometimes it will jam.
Yeah.
But that's after shooting consistently at the range, like on my 20th round or something, it started to jam.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just because of the ammunition you were using or if it's because maybe some of the buildup on the cartridges when they come out of the box.
I was using Federals.
So you've only had that problem that one time, and that was, you're using Federal cartridges. So that might have something to do with it. I don't know. Yeah. A good person to talk to about that would be Bob out in Connecticut. Yeah. He shoots a lot of 10-22 rounds, and see if he's had anything with that. He's got quite an extensive.
I don't know. He's been on the pistol range mostly now.
Yeah, he's been on the pistol range a lot, but he does have some good range reports and ballistic tests on the
1022.
On the 1022. So
you need to send him that link.
Yeah, we can put that link on the website. Well, actually, we do have it on our regular website to his the Bob Ritt Shooting Journal.
Yeah.
So the 1022 is the cat daddy, huh?
Yeah. You
like that? Okay. Well, now he's going back also here talking about the Remington 870. He's got a Wingmaster 20 gauge. He's talking about getting an 870 Express with a slug barrel, or possibly a 12 gauge with interchangeable choke tubes for doing some upland bird hunting or possibly even turkey hunting. That's what I told him I liked about the 870. It's so versatile. You can use it for duck hunting, you can use it for turkey hunting, you can use it for upland game bird hunting, you can use it for small game hunting, squirrels, rabbits, and you can use it for deer.
Yeah.
So
The only thing that I would modify on it is make a semi-auto version of it. But even like they have the 1187s, but they're shiny.
well, they've got camo patterns in those now, even.
Yeah.
Like they're turkey guns. So, but like I said, what I like about the 870s, you can get the slug barrel, the rifle slug barrel for deer. That's just another possibility with it. Plus, like I say, the standard barrel, it's got the interchangeable choke tubes.
Yeah.
It's just an endless possibility of game that you can hunt with that gun, and it's just one gun. You can just, make so many small changes to it, and it's versatile.
Kind of like the 1022.
Yeah, and what I like about it, like versus the Wingmaster, I know Uncle Les has got one. He's got a Wingmaster. I don't know if it's a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge.
12.
But it's it's got the real shiny stock on it. It's got the shiny blued barrel and receiver on it. Whereas the 870 Expresses, they're all it's dull finish. It's a matte finish, on the barrel and a matte finish on the receiver. The stock and the forearm, it's just a dull luster type of wood on it. So that way it's not polished and polyurethane and all that stuff. So when you get it in the woods, it's not going to reflect light, number one. And if you get a little scratch on it, no big deal, because it's your gun to go out hunting with. It's not the Wingmaster you take out on the trap field. So that's what I really like about it. That and the versatility. Anything else you want to say about them?
Just have fun shooting that 1022.
Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to getting one here real soon myself and seeing what I can do with it. I want to do some mods on it, like I said, and get more into a target type shooting rifle. That's kind of what I'm after. So that's just a couple of emails we got this week, and I want to encourage everybody, feel free to email us. I love hearing from everybody. I like hearing all the different stories. I love guys that ask questions. I've always got an opinion about something. It may not always be, the facts about things. I may give you my opinion more than anything. But that's what this is all about, It's just sharing a little information back and forth and having fun with it. And if you don't agree with what we say, let us know. I'll talk about that on the show too. By all means, if we've misstated something, let us know. We're not professionals here. We're just guys that like to hunt, fish, shoot, and talk and have fun. So, but with that being said, the only things I got to say this week is, once again, go over to the websites and check them out. I really appreciate your support on the Hooks and Bullets website. If you go over and check that out, we're writing over there on a daily basis. And for you guys that are interested in that, that's over at MichiganHuntingToday.com/Hooks and Bullets / It's a little website deal I got going with the guys out at Skinny Moose Media, and that's working out pretty well. And there's a place over there where you can comment on all the stuff too. It's that blog site that I write for. It's a little more on some controversial topics.
Edgier.
Yeah, it's my soapbox. I can kind of lay it out there on the line. Whereas here, we're just about talking about having fun, hunting, and everything that goes along with it. But that one over there, I voice my opinion a little more on things, and give my take on how I feel and why I feel certain ways on stuff. And not only that, there's some good information over there too. Matter of fact, once we start doing the field testing of these broadheads, that's where we're going to write all of our information. We're going to put it on there. Anything that we field test is going to be on that website. I've already got a couple of small products that we've worked on that we have the results on over there, so you can go over there and check them out. We can talk about them here on the show, but on the blog site, I can put pictures on there, and I can put a lot more information on there that way, where you guys can take the time, read it and digest it, comment on it, what have you. So
we could show pictures, but they just wouldn't be able to see them.
Well, yeah. Look at this picture here.
Yeah.
You big.
Can describe it.
You big dummy. What are you thinking? We can't show pictures on a podcast.
I don't know. I'm saying you can show them, but they just can't see them.
Yeah, they're not going to see them. Well, we could actually do a video podcast, but we haven't got that far yet. But, go over and check that site out. If you're unsure of how to get a hold of us, if you're unsure of where all of our stuff is, go to our main website. It's real simple, upnorthjournal.com. All of our links are there to everything we do, and our email address is there. Feel free to email us, like I said. Send us some stories, send us some pictures, and we look forward to a good turkey season. 3 weekends, man. We got 3 weekends we can get out and hunt, starting next weekend. So I'm hoping on next Sunday's show that we've got some good turkey reports to bring back. I'm hoping that one of us has bagged a bird, whether it be you, me, or Kevin.
Or Mackenzie.
I don't know if Mackenzie's actually going to get out. Oh, that reminds me. before we sign off here. This week, actually Saturday morning, my wife and my daughter, Mackenzie, are going to the Camo and Lace event. And guys, don't get any wild ideas. It's not one of those events. This is an organization that promotes women in the outdoors. They have classes where women can go with their friends, with their moms, with their daughters, and they sit in these classes and learn about hunting, fishing, all kinds of stuff. And it's taught by other women, so they don't have to worry about us guys saying, "Oh, you're doing that the wrong way," you know. You need to do it this way. There's no one. You don't have to worry about that intimidation. They feel a little more relaxed being amongst their own. So, I think the girls this week, my wife and my daughter, are taking ATV, beginner ATV riding. They're taking a yoga class. Why, I don't know, but that's okay. That's part of their deal. Yeah. That's what they want to do. They're taking yoga. They're taking making your own custom game calls. And then lastly, they're taking basic handgun training, which I find really cool that my wife and my daughter are going to take that together. I think that's really cool.
Well, Mom, she's actually been talking about getting a CCW.
She has been talking about it. She's been tossing that idea around. But so I'm encouraged to see her taking the bull by the horns, so to speak, and going out. She's going to learn how to shoot a pistol. And, I've let her shoot a little bit. But she's going to be with other women and women instructors teaching her how to shoot. So that way she doesn't feel like I'm watching over her shoulder and, oh, you're doing that wrong. You got to do it this way. So it gets all that garbage out of the way. So she can get the basics down, and then we can go out and we can shoot and have fun. So I'm looking forward to it. So
probably learn how to outshoot both of us.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Women have more patience than men, and typically they're better shooters than men. When I was shooting on the Eastern Michigan University rifle team, our best shooter was a girl, and she could shoot lights out over anybody. She was good, but that's it. Women have more patience, flat out. They have to, because they have to put up with us guys. So, one last thing is I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day out there if there's any ladies listening. And guys, I hope by all means that you took care of the ladies this week on Mother's Day, because it's those ladies who let us get out and go hunt and fish when we want to, or at least most of the time anyway. So make sure you took care of your ladies. And well, with that being said, I hope next week we'll have stuff to talk about from Camos and Lace. Maybe we'll get Mom to come on the show and tell us about what she learned, and Mackenzie. And hopefully one of us will have a story to tell about turkey hunting. Yeah. At least one of us. And it would be real nice if more than one of us had a story to tell. So we look forward to next week's show. You guys tune back in again next week and see what kind of stories we got. We might try to stretch the truth a little bit on them. I don't know. That's what hunting stories are about, but we have a lot of fun. Well, listen, that'll do it this week. You got anything else? No. All right. As we say here at the Up North Journal, if you're out in the woods or on the water, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.